Once upon a time, the infamous rover Reynardo plundered the floating isles. Then his mother called him to her deathbed. "Swear to me that you won't die on the gallows," she rasped. Reluctantly, he swore. And he whiled away his days at home with music, cards, and wine. But the Emperor had changed. He'd been good once, a shy, almost humble toad. He'd built universities. But then people started whispering about mass graves in the woods, midnight rituals, victims screaming. The Imperial Ravens would round up entire villages, and no one ever returned. The Ravens had come to Ubar scouting for ancient books said to be of great power. But the librarians had hidden the books, so they'd burnt the librarians. The citizens, outraged, had driven them off. The Ravens had come back with dropships. The kid had fled with one of those books. He was brave and dumb and wanted to join the rebellion. And Reynardo had promised his mother he'd protect him. The kid was looking down, watching his city burn. "Sorry, kid," Reynardo told the kid. "Look, if we give them the book, they'll leave you alone." "My mother died for this book!" "I promised her I'd protect you." Oh, damn it. The kid had run off. With the book, of course. So Reynardo had to run after him.
Защитить Питера.
The two Ravens were staring at the kid like he was their dinner, which probably was what was in their tiny brains. "Hey," Reynardo said. They cocked their heads at him. "Pick on someone as ugly as you." Wait, that didn't come out right. "For the Emperor!" The Ravens cawed and rushed at him. A dropship flew overhead. He hoped they hadn't noticed him. The kid. Oh, right. The Gate of Heroes. Someone's idea of a joke, making the Skyship docks a gated community. You needed a hero's sword to open it. And the kid was on the other side of the gate. Who let you through? Promise me you'll take the book to the rebels, or I'm gonna steal your ship. I'm not taking that damn book anywhere, and neither are you. Try and stop me, laughed the kid. I bet you don't even have a hero sword. And with that, the kid hopped away. Had to hand it to the kid. He was an idiot, but he had guts. Where was Reynardo going to get a hero sword? Ore and wind essence? That sounds about right. I'll need a workshop, though. Perfect. A hero sword. QED. This is what he got for settling down and finding people to care about. The kid's mum had been a swell cook, and she'd laughed at Renado's jokes, even when he didn't know he'd made one. And then the ravens had come to burn her. And she'd made him promise to protect the kid. But she never told him where the book was, just the kid. He came up to a ledge. It was too far to jump. There'd been a bridge here before, hadn't there? And there was Peter, giggling at him. "How'd you get across?" he asked the kid. "Where'd you find a hook?" "I hopped," said the kid. Wise-ass kid. "Hey, look out behind you!" "Cute," said Renato. Ah, ravens. It was time to talk some sense into the kid. Just hook his way across the ledge and chase the kid down. Thing was, he hadn't used his hook since he'd retired. How had he done it? Maybe if he meditated at that altar there, he'd remember his old skills. It was starting to come back to him. Something you never completely forgot, like how to freeze time when attacking. The more he fought, the more he'd probably remember. And there was the Farfarer. She was the fastest ship he'd ever known. She could do the Kessel run in 12 furlongs. Oh, so the salesman had told him. And something told him the kid was about to walk into an ambush. "Stop!" he shouted. "I'm not giving you the book!" shouted the kid, and took off. "No! Peter!" But the kid ran for it, and a goggler nailed him with its eye beam.
Интересно, вот на него надо напасть или нет? Давай, допустим. Питера убили.
The book was unburned. Next to it were the buckles from the kid's shoes, and a kid-sized pile of ashes. Damn it. Why hadn't he lied and told the kid he'd take the book to the rebels? The kid would be alive now. Really pissed off and betrayed, but alive. Oh, damn it. Renato picked up the book. He couldn't let the Empire have it now. He was going to have to get it out of there. He'd be a wanted man. Probably have to join the rebellion just to have a place to dock. Well, he'd hated home life anyway. What was the big deal about this book anyway? Maybe he should open it and find out. All that had been years ago. How many? The war was a blur, and now 3 Raven scout ships were chasing him. "Where are you running, rebel?" cawed the Raven captain over the loud hailer. Renato could see them cranking up their catapults. "Just going out for milk?" Renato yelled back. "Where can you run?" laughed the Raven horribly. Far behind him, another city was burning. The dark cloud above its island was thousands of Imperial ships. The fleet was doing a thorough job. "Take us to the rebel base! I will spare your life!" it called. The entire jury-rigged rebel fleet was only a few islands to the east. Beyond that were only the pillars of heaven, a sea of endless blood-colored tornadoes. The rebellion was out of time, unless Renato could bring a game-changer. Maybe he could. Renato had found out where he could find the pieces of the Sky Ripper, the legendary weapon that had exiled the lost gods. Surely a legendary weapon could win the final battle. On the other hand, his old friend Lupino had sent Renato a desperate message saying he had a brilliant scheme to save the rebellion. If Renato could only rescue him. Renato dived the Farfarer towards the abyss. As he felt the heat of the jet stream, the Raven ships peeled off, not stable enough to follow him down there. Now it was time to choose. Lupino or the Sky Ripper? Every child knew about the Sky Ripper. The Transcendent Emperor had buried its pieces. What could have brought them to light? This Emperor, Isengrim III, had once been kind, but he'd gone mad. And now he was conducting secret, obscene rituals to bring back the lost gods. Had he, somehow, summoned the long-lost components of the legendary weapon out of the deep places of the earth? It was more than Renato could fathom. But if he could find a legendary weapon, he would use it. As he set foot on the island, Renato could not help but feel a tinge of guilt. He'd left Lupino behind. He hoped the Mad Rabbit had somehow escaped the Ravens. He hoped they hadn't eaten him. If they had, he hoped they hadn't eaten him alive. Why had he chosen the Sky Ripper? Renato never made plans that required constant vigilance. He was a hero. He didn't think too much. He just went with his gut and hoped it all worked out. The Sky Ripper was a long shot. He'd have to devote himself to it. No side journeys, no rescuing old friends. That was against his nature. Could he stick with it? Didn't your mother tell you it's rude to stare? Snapped Renato, a little smug. The people who had built this castle, Did they even know what monstrous weapon lay hidden within their walls? The Sky Ripper could destroy anything it touched, or so the legend said. As the Transcendent Emperor had fought the lost gods, thousands of thousands had died. But Reynardo had been through wars. The only merciful war was a short one. Reynardo's blood was up. He just needed to smash something. Hero Wall, Hero Sword, Ice Wall, Ice Cube. Reynardo wondered if he could learn to cook this way. Probably not.
Это меня нахилит, да?
In this chest, there were woodcuts of amazingly beautiful vixens wearing no clothes at all. And something more useful. Two eyes good. One eye dead.
Я не думаю, что он в эту сторону поворачивается так. Да почему именно в эту сторону, ёбаный стыд? Смотри, сейчас направо повернет. Да, ладно. Я ждаю, что он тоже направо повернет, а он налево поворачивает. Успею. Ух ты ж, его вынес. Ух ты ж. Куда?
This could be the new aerobics craze. Am I right? Firewalls only let you through if they think you're hot enough.
Интересно, я могу упасть? Вроде не могу. Хорошо.
It was starting to come back to him. Something you never completely forgot, like how to freeze time when attacking. The more he fought, the more he'd probably remember. There it was. Skyripper's armature. The stuff that dreams are made of. Engineers' dreams, anyway. The device was intricate. No one alive had the skill to make a thing like it. How is it part of a weapon at all? He'd have to ask a scientist. But first, he'd get the second piece. Skyripper had a heart. A core that had come to rest on the next island. Well, there was another island he could reach. Zenobia had just invaded it with her father's Raven battalions. She must be encamped there still. But fighting Zenobia now, that made no sense at all. He'd already sacrificed one friend to get this armature, was it? He didn't need to hurry to face her. She would find him. Renato asked himself why he changed course to confront Zenobia. He'd no idea. Sometimes he would just do things, and he could never figure out why he'd done them. Usually, they worked out. After all, he was a hero. Truth is, though, he wanted to see her, wasn't it? It had been a dozen years since Swordfu School. He'd followed every rumor about her, every scrap of news. Not that he still loved her. After all, she was his enemy. No, it was solely because know your enemy. But it would be great to see her, even if they faced off across sword points as they'd done so many times at school. The world was a less interesting place without her. Can't we just agree to disagree? Said Renato. No?
Блять, я просрал ногу.
Huh? A lever? That was new. Most people still use doorknobs.
Я не успею.
Renato wasn't entirely sure how he was going to capture Zenobia. She'd be expecting him. And he didn't have Lapino to cook up a clever plan. Why was it again that he hadn't got the core? Well, they really needed to redecorate anyway. He'd missed his old skills. He welcomed them back like he was at a reunion. Here. Renato slinked through Zenobia's ship, making no sound at all. Where were her guards? Finally, he reached her bedroom. She was curled up on her bed. Oh, he'd forgotten how beautiful she was. How sleek. How soft. He tapped her on the shoulder with his sword. She vanished. And he suddenly noticed he couldn't move except his mouth. In fact, Sudi couldn't keep his mouth shut. He told Zenobia everything. Sky Ripper, the rebellion plans, even where the secret rebel base was, until he was hoarse. It was some kind of truth spell. A talky truth spell. She called her father by Farspeaker Toad and filled His Majesty in. But why didn't he get the core? Croaked the Farspeaker in something like His Majesty's croak. Because I missed you, darling. Renato grinned.
Начал Шрека.
He doesn't even know why, frowned Zenobia.
Походу я проебался и не то выбрал.
It's a trap, shouted the Emperor.
Трап, блядь.
I'll meet you at the outpost, and I'll bring my interrogators. If Renato came face to face with the Emperor, maybe he could assassinate him. But maybe it would be smarter and safer to turn Zenobia against her father.
Я не уебу по-любому.
What are you doing? Asked Zenobia. Did you ever wonder why the Emperor adopted you? He asked her. She shook her head. He told her. His Majesty wanted to bring the lost gods back. They could make him an eater of souls, an immortal. But to seal his bargain with them, he needed a sacrifice. Someone who truly loved him. She was stunned. Furious. You're lying. Under a true spell? It's a trick. You can't prove that. Take me to the observatory, and I will.
Интересно, как долго в эту игру надо играть?
What kind of proof could you possibly have? She said as they landed on the Nexus. Your father ritually sacrificed
М?
at you. So I'm crazy. Won't you bend that back for me? We won't stop. Got your feet both locked. You get to fly with me. I can take you down for a ride. I take you around my life. Jaywalking, crosswalking, lip locking, but you, I know it, you know it, we make it. So I'm crazy. Oh my baby, got me staring at you. So I'm crazy. Won't you bend that back for me? We won't stop. Got your feet both locked. You get to fly with me. I can take you down for a ride. I take you around my life. Jaywalking, crosswalking, lip locking, but you, I know it, you know it, we make it.
Brothers, my guys, know that they fly, know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my side, CJ Ike, now I gotta roll with ice. Cody's brothers, my guys, know that they fly, know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my side, CJ Ike, now I gotta roll with ice. Ride or die, 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 ride or die. Cody's brothers, my guys, know that they fly, know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my side, CJ Ike, now I gotta ride or die.
Born to ride, Mustang 65, got that V8 engine with a fuel injection. Drop the clutch, pedal to the floor, turn that caper into a lion's roar. Dream machine, racing queen, I'll take you wherever you wanna go. Let's slow us down, break the speed of sound. Tonight we all know racing. Dream machine, racing queen, you make my heart beat. You make my heart beat. Dream machine, racing queen, you make my heart beat. You make my heart beat.
The village. And he left witnesses? The scientist resurrected one. Well, it's not really alive, but it can talk. A true witness. She frowned. The dead can't lie. Well, I bet they could. They just don't have any reason to. She nodded grimly. You go on ahead. I don't want the ravens to see me. Who needed bridges anyway? Renato hoped his mother wasn't watching.
Второй проебался.
She caught up with him. She seemed troubled. All right, out with it, he said. He sent his ravens to search for an ancient crystal. Something called the Iblis stone. Iblis. Isn't he one of the lost gods? He shivered. A stone dedicated to one of the lost gods. Well, that could give great power. But what would the god demand in return?
Вернуться? Нет. Там сундук. Пожалуйста, я сейчас смогу вернуться на этой же херне. Куда я? Алло. Ладно.
The scientists at the observatory had a true witness to one of the Emperor's blasphemous rituals. The dead could be made to speak for a short while. Interestingly, they could not be made to lie. After all, what do they have to lose or gain by lying?
Мне бы еще на меч, наверное, хватило.
Renato wondered what would happen if he jumped. Would he be rescued by an emergency platform?
А, это, подожди, она поднимает? Вот так.
Renato hated
Нет, ты
warlocks.
чё?
The way they stayed back and lobbed
Зашибись,
pain and
проебал.
death from distance.
Из-за какой-то херни.
Cowards. Really dangerous, effective cowards.
Блять. Найс, успел.
Why would anyone put his slinky collection in a strongbox?
Подожди,
Thought Renato.
не хватает.
Could they magic
Nice.
slinkies? Oh, and there was something else.
О, мечик.
The observatory was a burning hulk. Dead scientists and black feathers everywhere. The ravens had burned the reanimated witness to cinders. Renato was stunned. There goes my proof. These were scientists, not rebels, Zenobia said, upset. Why would he do this? I don't know. Let's go to the fleet and ask him. Yes. I'll meet you on the mountains. There's something I have to get first. But could he afford to meet her in the mountains? He'd given the Empire the location of the secret rebel base. They would need rescuing. Bernardo was torn. He wanted Zenobia to see the truth of her father. But she could get the truth out of her father faster without him tagging along. Meanwhile, the fleet would soon be knocking on the door of the secret rebel base. Bernardo had better be there when they did.
So he had given the Sky Ripper's core to the Empire. He felt stupid about that.
He hoped the Emperor didn't bring the Sky Ripper against the base. There was nothing he could do to fight a legendary weapon. Bernardo hated when he screwed up. One of these days, he would learn to look before he pounced. But today is not that day, he intoned for his own amusement. Bernardo felt like he was ready to learn new things. Thank goodness he didn't have to go to school for that. Every day he was getting better and better.
Ну и как мне это забрать? Понял.
Don't look down, he told himself. Don't look down.
This burning sword from the south was terrific for barbecuing sausages and ravens. Hey. Hey, I'm a firefox, thought Renato. Yeah! The raven was slumped in a pile of its own feathers, like a tree in November.
You can't stop us. The Emperor has a weapon no warrior can defend against.
What happened to you? Renato asked. But the raven chose that moment to go to the great nest in the sky. So they'd made the cord into a weapon. That wasn't good. Hey, how do you tell if someone's far away or just really small? It was good to
Блядь,
practice your moves,
издеваешься.
thought Renato. Keeps you limber.
Врезался в стену.
The long stairs. So he was close to the rebel base. Nothing was on fire. So far, so good.
Wow!
Его?
That hurt.
А, вот этот. Мы... Я думаю, что меня ударило, боже.
Renato felt new powers ready to blossom within him, or something.
Надо было хиляющий меч делать.
Renato had never slain so many ravens. The secret base was going to stink of burnt feathers for months. The council speaker was confused.
Our spies say Zenobia has gone berserk. She attacked and destroyed an entire squadron of dropships.
This was amazing good news. He'd shown her the Emperor's evil. Now she'd gone over to the rebel side. Now is our moment. Attack! Renato exulted. They could win this thing. Zenobia commanded half the fleet. Who would follow the mad Emperor when they could follow his heir, who was wise and smart and a brilliant sorceress besides? But what about the core and the Iblis stone? What evil could the Emperor wreak with those?
As he closed in on the Imperial fleet, Renato liked his odds.
Oh, how had he gotten into this mess? He'd never set out to be a hero. When he was a kid, he'd wanted to be a great cat burglar, until his mother had explained about foxes and cats. And then the Emperor had gone mad and started sacrificing kittens to the lost gods. There were a lot of dead ravens here. Who had slain them? He could learn new skills, if only he'd take the time to figure out which.
Бля.
Where did that go to?
Четыре хп, боже. Спасибо. Интересно, если я умру, я буду чё? Пробки хил.
If they didn't want their things broken, they really ought to make them stronger.
Нет.
Oh, this really didn't have much in the way of safety features, did it?
Прыгай, алло. Я его убил? Ладно.
Renata felt a breeze through his armor. Oh dear, that wasn't good.
Кажется, я помру. Не пизда. Что-то он так не писал.
He was in a swirl of newly remembered knowledge.
Нету коробки.
Needed to
Опять
focus. There were raven bodies everywhere. The precision of the wounds. Renato recognized her style. It appeared that she was single-handedly turning the tides of the battle. Good. That left the Emperor with only the core. Against him, all the rebels, his daughter and her raven body.
Ну, 0
Wish
кило
he
на
was
тебе вашей
fighting
энергии,
alongside her.
ёбаный.
But they'd meet up soon enough. He felt like Tarzan.
0 кило. О, минус энергия. Ну, хотя бы тут кило. Найс. Чё-то, мне кажется, мне эти 14 хп не спасут от одного удара. Давай с тобой, разберемся. Блядь, я так и знал, что не спасет.
Was the cake? He'd been promised cake.
Что за контрольная точка? Я 2 хп, вот это контрольная точка. Блядь. Не, давайте вы меня убейте. Я хочу за него хп проходить. Убил? Что за контрольная точка? Я точно никогда не был. Ну ладно. Давай, покажись.
Soon he'd confront the Emperor. Funny that this whole war had come about because the Emperor feared death. And now it was
Всё,
coming for
это
him.
лишь-
There was some sort of lesson there, wasn't there?
Привет. Играю все задачки. Блять. Можно возродить. это для меня. Могу поставить по ФКшить, чисто ману кормить. Ладно, чисто буду так лицо ее фармить.
Zenobia was cutting down the Emperor's bodyguard like they were mushrooms. The Emperor was frantically readying some arcane instrument, brass and hammered steel wrapped around a glowing, thrumming sphere. Skyripper's core. Zenobia! Renato shouted. But he had no idea what else to say. Revenge! She shouted as she cut the last bodyguard down. A ray lanced out of the sphere. Everything around her burst into flames, but her sword seemed only to absorb it. She walked towards Isengrim III like she was walking against a river. Nothing could stop her. They were going to win. Zenobia stabbed the Emperor dead and flicked the moaning apparatus off. She was laughing hysterically. Or weeping, maybe. They had won. He ran to her. I killed my own father. She wept, and he held her. He told her he loved her. He would pull her back from the brink of madness. But the core thrummed louder and louder. At that moment, Renato understood that the core was going to explode catastrophically, and that this could have been victory. The Emperor and his daughter dead, the fleet destroyed. He'd almost been a hero. A legendary one, maybe, if only he and the rebel fleet hadn't been here. Okay, that was weird. He could have sworn he just died. Instead, he was on the Farfarer, sailing away from Ubar. And it was still burning. He'd fled burning Ubar years ago, hadn't he? And now he was back there. Had all those years fighting the Empire been nothing but a vision into the future? A useful vision if it was true. He'd learned something. The core was powerful, but dangerous if used improperly.
А, то есть я решил просто с концовки нахуй начать, да, типа 24-е последнее, блин. Понял. Есть. Открыт. Я что-то хавать захотел. Сколько я отходил надолго. Блять.